Oh, yes. It was very comfortable today, wouldn't you say? But the humidity is going to creep back up there, as a matter of fact. So summer is just around the corner. But there's some things I'm looking at on the satellite that you're going to see in just a minute. And these right here, subject of tonight's weather photograph, Larry Moore's favorite cloud type, cumulonimbus mammatus.
Mammatus, yes.
You love those things. Jim Rubin of Gladstone, Missouri says that Jennifer, Jessica, and Jackie, 9, 7, and 6 respectively, his daughters, took the photograph. How they divvied up the responsibilities, I don't know. Anyway, nice photograph. I love the contrast between the foreground and those nice orange clouds. 71 degrees right now, 66% humidity. Our winds are southwest at 8 miles an hour, meaning temperatures shouldn't fall too much more. 29, 88, and steady. Our pressure, 83 degrees. Our high, and 62 degrees our morning. Not precipitation in the immediate metro. Most of it staying to the north and east of the city proper. 60s and 70s everywhere. 69 degrees, Bonnie, Herkin, and Leavenworth. 72 in Mission. 73 down in Belton. Excelsior Springs, Calaminic there. 71 degrees at this time. Storm track, so you know what's going on. It is cool to the north, hot down to the south, and now the jet stream is beginning to lift back away from us, putting us back into this hot regime. But close to the jet stream itself out west, look at the contrast in temperatures. The nation's low, 36 degrees in Browning, Montana. The hot spot, Death Valley, California, their afternoon high, 120. So a lot of this warmer air is going to move in from the southwest, which is our wind flow tonight, and so that's why I'm looking for temperatures to be a little bit warmer, especially toward tomorrow afternoon. Now, how about the wetness? Well, look at this stuff in eastern parts of Nebraska sliding down. Golf ball size hail reported in some parts of Nebraska earlier today, and you can really see it on the satellite.
Our great Aussie. The presence of a problem. Michael Mahoney, KMBC 9 News, Iola, Kansas.
This is Bob Whirl. At Gladstone Bowl, the idea of paying more so everyone gets health coverage scores a strike with some.
Well, I think it's something that's long overdue. I think it's something we should have had a long, long time ago.
And a blank with others.
Well, I'm not real familiar with it. I haven't paid any much attention to the health care plan that Clinton's proposed and everything that's going on with that at all.
Bowling alley employees get no health benefits. Terry Hoppenthaler and her carpenter husband pay $400 a month for their individual policy. And they can't afford coverage for his employees.
I feel everybody should be covered, but I'm just not sure who needs to pay for it.
You take a hit either way if you run a small business. With or without health coverage for your workers, you could lose. If the alley's owner provides no coverage, employees might leave. If he does, there might be layoffs.
Then we're going to have to lessen our costs somewhere, and one of the ways we'll have to do that probably is through our payroll.
An older bowler says the cost of national coverage probably wouldn't be any greater than what he already pays for Medicare and supplement policies.
It'd be the same thing.
It wouldn't really cost you any more.
No, not if they lumped it together. What I'm paying for two things would be the same.
In healthcare, though, it seems there's often a spare expense to be paid for. Bob Worley, KMBC 9 News.
Bob says a few bowlers who oppose paying for others' health insurance wouldn't talk on camera.
Yesterday, we told you Jim Slattery wanted to move into the governor's mansion, and now it looks like former Governor John Carlin wants Slattery's congressional seat. Carlin has a speech scheduled for tomorrow in Topeka. Clay Chastain appears to be at it again. He's been circulating petitions to save Union Station, but failed in efforts to get that question to voters. Now he's trying to recall Kansas City Mayor Emanuel Cleaver. Chastain blames Cleaver for inaction on Union Station. The recall petition needs almost 19,000 signatures to put the recall before voters.
Lawmakers are still busy in Jefferson City trying to figure out how to pay for state flood damage. Today there was committee discussion on numerous bills related to Governor Carnahan's plan to spend $16 million in reserve funds. During the height of the flooding, the levee around downtown airport was threatened, but it held. Still, the constant pressure of the floodwater caused damage, and as Peggy Bright reports now, that levee is one of the first to get attention from the Corps of Engineers.
At the downtown airport, they're working by the river's edge on land that in July was underwater. At one point, the threat of the levee breaking was so great, the airport was evacuated. That was then. This is now. Workers are building a new, small, and temporary levee. It will help them safely fix broken pipelines under the old levee. They'll also be digging out, replacing, or adding soil where the floodwater sat.
Levee units are not intended to have water placed against them for long periods of time. They're just intended to have a temporary inundation or flooding and then pass the water quickly. But these were record situations we had here.
When it's completed, the Corps of Engineers says it'll look the same here as it did before the big flood. This is just the beginning. Hundreds of levees need repairing. Some 700 are agricultural, and they won't be repaired with federal help. The Corps is attacking levee problems on a case-by-case basis, with priority being given to the areas with the biggest populations. They hope to have everything completed within a year, but they admit with the amount of work there is to be done, that's extremely optimistic. Peggy Bright, KMBC 9 News.
The Corps hopes to have the downtown airport project finished before Christmas.
Coming up next in our newscast, campus romance is being studied at KU today.
And Brian says another great day, then some changes in our weather.
And later in our Health Watch report, all of us at Channel 9 are learning a lot about detached retinas from Lori's experience. What should you look for? Stay tuned.
You're watching KMBC 9 News, where the news comes first. KMBC 9 News at 6, with Larry Moore, Lori Everett, Brian Busby, and Len Dawson.
A while ago, university officials, faculty, and students met to discuss the dating ban. We understand the school may be willing to make some minor changes in its policy.
Up next, you probably don't give it much thought, but how would you know if you had a detached retina? We'll show you the warning signs.
It's getting close to Monday, and the Denver game. Is Joe a go? And later, a souvenir good enough to eat. Stay tuned for details.
The focus of tonight's Health Watch report is someone you all know and many of you have been asking about, Lori Everett. As we've been telling you, she's recovering from surgery for a detached retina. And that has led to a lot of questions about what a detached retina is. So with this eye model, I want to give you a real basic explanation. Actually, if I open this eye up, you'll see inside this back part, this tissue that lines the back part of the eye with the veins running in it, that's the retina. And a detached retina is when this lining lifts up from the tissue that's underneath and allows fluid to seep inside. Now, there is no vision in that detached part of the eye, and it was that loss of vision that first alerted Lori something was wrong. But it was very subtle. The detached retina is not painful, but if you notice floaters where it seems like cobwebs are floating across your eye, vision dropout like Lori had, or flashes of light like a lightning streak, those are all symptoms of a detached retina. Now, Lori is extremely nearsighted, and that made her more susceptible to this condition, and she's feeling pretty lucky that she got help in time. Tonight at 10, we'll tell you who else is at risk for this, exactly what was done to fix Lori's eye, and an update on when you can expect to see Lori back here on the news. And here's a hint for you, very soon.
The forward is someone you all know very well, our very own Lori Everett, and her recovery from surgery for a detached retina.
Now, so many of you have had questions about her condition and how she's doing, so we thought we'd try to shed a little light on this subject tonight. Now, let me start, for those of you who might have missed our earlier report, by showing you exactly what the retina is and what a detached retina is with this model of the eye. Now, if I open it up so that you can see inside a little bit better, this lining in the back of the eye where you can see the veins, that's the retina. A detached retina means that this tissue has lifted up from the underlying tissue and allowed some fluid to get underneath. Now, there is no vision in that detached portion of the eye, and it was that loss of vision that first alerted Lori something might be wrong.
I was aware of a very subtle shadow right in the top field of my vision. It was very subtle, very slight, but it was something different that hadn't been there before. And I just think you don't take chances with your vision, so I had it checked strictly as a precaution.
It turns out Lori may have acted just in time. Her regular eye doctor, James Rubin, saw the problem immediately.
I mean, the threat of loss of vision is always there with a retinal detachment. And you want to catch it as early as you can.
This picture shows the tear in Lori's retina and explains why she was scheduled for surgery that same night.
I was astonished. I was astonished because as it began to sink in to me, that I could possibly lose my vision if this weren't treated quickly, it's very scary.
Dr. William Rosenthal was Lori's surgeon, a specialist in treating such cases, and he explains how he forced the separated layers of eye tissue back together.
We take a sponge-like material called a scleral buckle. We place it around the outer surface of the eye, and we indent the eye so the retina will flatten out. The sponge remains forever, but it does not in any way affect the functioning of the eye.
ADTP. Good. Lori was at risk for a detached retina because she is extremely nearsighted, and that condition increases the chances of a weak spot developing in the eye. In Lori's case, it led to a tear in her retina. A detached retina can also be the result of a trauma. Some diseases make people more susceptible, and your chances do increase with age. The scary part is it's not painful, and the symptoms may be subtle. If you see floaters where it seems dark things like cobwebs are floating across your eye, vision dropout like Lori had, where there's like a veil blocking part of your vision, or flashes of light like lightning streaks, any of these can be signs of a detached retina. But the best advice, if you notice any change in your vision, see your eye doctor.
I feel so fortunate that it was detected quickly and that there are people like Dr. Rosenthal who know how to fix something as complicated as this. I'm told everything will be fine in a few more weeks, good as new, and I feel fortunate.
Now, we should explain Lori's eye is still healing, so her vision keeps changing, but it's getting better, and best part is you should see her back here on the news in the next couple of weeks.
And we're all happy to hear that good news, but a number of people are also asking, what about her other eye?
Well, from what I understand, it's okay now, but knowing this condition developed in her right eye, her doctors will keep a very close watch on her left eye should anything develop there. Again, the good news tonight is Lori should be back to her normal routine right back here in the next few weeks.